Dallas Cowboys, guys. The time for excuses for the Dallas Cowboys is officially over. As a new era begins in Dallas, Brian Schottenheimer is in, and the roster is loaded, baby. And expectations are sky high. But the question is simple. Will this finally be the year the Dallas Cowboys break through, or are we staring down the barrel of yet another 11-win season disappointment? Guys, let's break down the entire 2020-2025 NFL season for the Dallas Cowboys. Way too early win-loss predictions. So, guys, weeks 1 through 4, I think the Dallas Cowboys come out swinging. I think they come out swinging. They pop some people in the mouth early, and they do it often. And they do it week 1, September 4th, Brian Schottenheimer's Dallas Cowboys debut. Guys, it is a statement. George Pickens goes off. CeeDee Lamb goes off. Dak Prescott might throw for 450-plus yards. Dallas Cowboys go into a hostile Philadelphia and stun the Eagles. It is a physical NFC East slugfest, and Parsons sets the tone. That offense does just enough to steal the deal, and it is a hands-down win for the Dallas Cowboys opening week. Guys, I told you guys this a couple weeks ago when the schedule first came out, that the Philadelphia Eagles did not want to play the Dallas Cowboys come week 1 because the Cowboys were going to wax that ass, and that's exactly what they do. Then you come down to week 2, the home opener for the Dallas Cowboys. The New York Giants are coming down to town, and this is yet another win. The home opener delivers fireworks, right? CeeDee Lamb finds the end zone twice, and the defense forces Russell Wilson into multiple mistakes, multiple turnovers. We might even see Jameis Winston in this game at this particular point. The Cowboys start 2-0 with back-to-back divisional wins. The sky is the limit. Everybody's looking positive. But then week 3 comes. They travel to Chicago, and they play the Chicago Bears. They play the Chicago Bears, and they get the first loss of the season. Chicago's defense steps up big time, and Caleb Williams outshines Dak Prescott in this one. The Cowboys fall flat in the second half, and a wake-up call early in the season that the Cowboys are not good enough to take the foot off the gas in the second half. Wake up, baby. You have to play a full 60 minutes each and every week. And then that's what they exactly do week 4. When they're back at home, it's payback time, and the Green Bay Packers come into town, and they wax that ass, baby. Now, after the recent playoff heartbreak a couple years ago, and then yet another loss last season, right? The Dallas Cowboys don't mess around. Jordan Love gets rattled, and the Cowboys front 7, and the home crowd erupts as the Dallas Cowboys move to 3-1 on the season. So, guys, to recap the first quarter of the season, 3-1 start for the Dallas Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer has the fans believing. The Cowboys own the NFC East early, and everybody's talking about a Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys after the 4 weeks of the season. And then weeks 5 through 9, they still build the process. They're still building that foundation, and they grind through the next few weeks. However, week 5 is tough. Week 5 is tough because they do travel to New York to take on the New York Football Jets and Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields is under center now, and it's his legs, not his arms, that causes more problems for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys defense struggles to contain his mobility, and the Jets run right at Micah Parsons over and over and over again. And I think the Jets pull the upset, air quotes, their upset win there, giving the Dallas Cowboys their second loss of the season. Then heading into week 6, they're back on the road to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Guys, Bryce Young still doesn't have what it needs to win these games. The Dallas Cowboys go into Carolina, and they dominate in the trenches and forces multiple turnovers. A get-right game on the road, exactly what they needed. Because as they come back home week number 7, they welcome a great team to town, and that is the Washington Commanders. Dan Quinn comes back to AT&T Stadium. It's not his house anymore, but Micah Parsons sacks Jaden Daniels twice, and the offense protects the ball. Brian Schottenheimer improves to 3-0 in the division with the win over the Washington Commanders. And then week number 8, they travel to Denver and win yet another tough road game. Sean Payton has the Denver Broncos back on track, but the Dallas Cowboys just too much on both sides of the ball. The Cowboys grind out a low-scoring win at Mile High Stadium. Now, heading into week 9, they are playing another really, really good team in the Arizona Cardinals, but this time at home. but this is a total mismatch. The Arizona Cardinals get overwhelmed by the Dallas Cowboys' speed and depth. Expect this one to be over by halftime, right? It is what it is. The Dallas Cowboys are going to wax the Arizona Cardinals' butts at the end of the day. So the Dallas Cowboys are rolling into the bye week. Week 10's a bye week at 7-2. Brian Schottenheimer's team is cooking, and the defense looks championship caliber. But this is where the season starts to tumble apart. This is where they go into the fire, and they do not come out the other side very peachy clean. So fresh out of the bye week, they travel to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Sloppy out of the bye, Vegas brings the heat, and the Dallas Cowboys cannot adjust. Penalties and turnovers leads to a frustrating road loss. It is just a tough game to watch in the particular game. It might be a 12-6 game at the end of the game. And then week number 12, the Philadelphia Eagles come into Arlington, Texas, but the Philadelphia Eagles flip the script from week 1. Hurts makes key plays late, and the Eagles even the series, and the division race starts to tighten up. And then week 13, it does not get any easier. Now the Cowboys are at home, but they do welcome the best team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, into town. Mahomes in November, December, January, it doesn't matter. He is a different beast. The Dallas tries to keep it close, but a late drive from the Chiefs steals yet another loss for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. So the Dallas Cowboys do drop 3 straight games to fall to 7-5 on the season. A playoff spots are still within reach, but the pressure is mounting. They need to finish strong, and that's exactly what they do. I think weeks 14 through 18, the final push, as I want to call it, the Dallas Cowboys do finish strong. And they finish strong right off the bat, week 14, as they go into Detroit and they beat the Lions. A huge playoff implications here, and the Dallas Cowboys deliver. The defense swarms Jared Goff, and whoever the running back is for the Dallas Cowboys at this particular point, they control the clock and keep that Detroit Lions offense off of the field very, very shortly. And then week 15, they're back at home taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and J.J. McCarthy gets a rough welcome to AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys dominate the time of possession and pull away in the second half. Note here that I'm really relying on the running game. I think they start to control the clock a lot this last part of the season. Then week number 16, they welcome the Chargers into town. It is yet another win. Now, week 17, they do travel to Washington, D.C., and Dan Quinn does get his revenge. The Washington defense plays inspired with a few crucial mistakes, dooms the Dallas Cowboys late, giving them that loss. And then they do finish out strong at New York, beating the New York Football Giants, which they finished 11-6 on the season. Brian Schottenheimer's first year ends with momentum and a record of 4-2 in the NFC East, right? So, guys, here is the tally. 11-6 record, 4-2 in the division. Playoffs, very, very likely. But can Brian Schottenheimer win in January? That's been the biggest Dallas Cowboys downfall of them all. So, guys, is 11-6 a successful season for Brian Schottenheimer in year 1? Or will Cowboys Nation demand more? Guys, this is a live interactive show, so comment down below. Remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, and we are live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. So, John is saying the Dallas Cowboys will go 10-7. John, we're not too far apart. We are not too far apart. I got 11-6. You got 10-7. I believe you said something about the Bears game earlier. So I don't know. Old Man River is not having any optimism in Dallas at all. 7-10, he says. 7-10. He says, Buck, the Cowboys are just not very good. Bro. John says the loss to Chicago is crazy. Listen, I said this last year. So in 2024, there were several teams that were pretty good. They had a potential to be a playoff-bound team. One of them being the Chicago Bears, the other one being the Las Vegas Raiders, the other one being the New York Football Giants, right? They all had pretty good shots of making the playoffs, but their schedules were tough, right? They had tough schedules. The Bears had one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. The Raiders, it seemed like every time they would get a little bit of momentum, boom, they play the Chiefs. Boom, they play the Chargers. Boom, they play whoever else would they had a lot of tough games. Same thing with the New York Giants. They could never really catch a break. However, the Chicago Bears have done well, especially at home. I think the first 3 or 4 weeks of the Chicago Bears, the buzz around Ben Johnson and that offense is going to be really, really hot. And they are going to be playing well the first couple weeks of the season. Now, when we break down the NFC North will be Tuesday, right? Tuesday, we will break down the NFC North. I just want to tell you that the Chicago Bears are not going to finish strong, but they will 100% start strong. And that's why I think they do ultimately lose to the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Because if I'm not mistaken, that is the Chicago Bears home opener as well. Brandon's in the chat. Hall, man, says the Commanders are going 8-9 and missing the playoffs. Brandon, stay tuned because we're talking about the Commanders next, buddy. We are talking about your Commanders next. And RG4 has a slump. I think he means JD4, right? JD4. John says beating Chicago and lose to Detroit and the line line of the Giants game. So that's where John and I differ. So he thinks the Giants will beat the Cowboys, the Lions will beat the Cowboys, and the Bears will lose to the Cowboys. But other than that, we are right on the same page here. And Alpha Rob, great minds think alike, Alpha Rob. Great lines think alike. 11-6. But he also says, I'm not buying the Bears. Listen, I'm not buying the Bears either. Let's just be perfectly clear. I'm not buying the Bears either. And you know what? Since you are an everydayer, Alpha Rob, since you are an everydayer, John, and Old Man River, I will give you guys a little bit of food for thought here on what I have for the Chicago Bears if it pulls up. It's not pulling up. Imagine that. Let me go down here and copy the link again. So I do the V2 playoff predictor, and it's always not the greatest of saving things. So sometimes you got to save the link so it saves your things. I had the Chicago Bears as a sub 500 team. I just put in that there. I have them as a sub 500 team. They are a decent team. They've shown improvements. They had a great off season, but yeah, you can never buy the Chicago Bears. You guys know my opinions about the Chicago Bears. You can get all the hype you want in May. Do not buy them. You can get all the hype you want in June, July, August, September, right? You can have all of that, but it's still the Chicago Bears. Slow it down, baby, right? Slow it down. Old Member says Dak will be throwing interceptions and Lamb and Pickens pursuit fight at the 50. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys are either going to be really fun to watch or really fun to watch, right? Either way, Dallas Cowboys are going to be must talked about TV every time we get on this show. Whether it is CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens fighting at the 50, whether it's Dak Prescott throwing for 50 yards or 400 yards, right? We are going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys a lot this season because there's so much dynamic on either side of the coin, right? Because later in the show, people love to hate the Dallas Cowboys. People love to hate the Dallas Cowboys. Matter of fact, if you show me an Eagles fan, just an average Eagles fan, I bet you they hate the Dallas Cowboys more than they like their team. That's just the way it is, right? That's just the way it is. John says the Bears will finish with yet another 6 or 7 season. We'll talk about them on Tuesday, man. We'll definitely talk about them Tuesday. RPG Production says, are you buying the Patriots? Tune in tomorrow, RPG Productions, because we will break down the AFC East tomorrow. But I can tell you, they are below a 500 team as well. So don't shoot the messenger. Brad D says the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? I had them as 11-6. 11-6. Definitely a great record to be poised to make a playoff push, right? Alpha Rob says, I think the Pats come in second place with a 9-8. Tune in tomorrow, guys. Tune in tomorrow. Robert Sullivan says, not the Cowboys. Yes, Cowboys are America's team. We will always be talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Win, lose, or draw, Cowboys are always headline news. But right now, way too early predictions. I have them at as 11-6. John says Dallas definitely going to be better this season. Listen, me personally, I think they will be better, right? But they are a ticking time bomb, right? With the whole Micah Parsons podcast thing and other factors outside of the actual organization, like George Pickens' maturity. Dak Prescott really pushing to be the top 5 quarterback, but people are always hating on him. If somebody would drop a firecracker in the middle of the field, we would literally watch the Dallas Cowboys implode like an atomic bomb went off. But they could be really, really good or really, really bad. There is, I don't think there'll be any mediocre point for the Dallas Cowboys this season. They will not be a 7, 8, 9 win team. They will be 11 plus or 4 and under, right? There is no mediocre point for the Dallas Cowboys. But the Patriots right now, no one can tell me otherwise. Tune in tomorrow. Old Man River says the Commanders will be 11-6. We'll see, Commanders. Or we'll see, Old Man River. RPG Brex says, what time tomorrow? We are live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time, brother. 9 p.m. East Coast time. Oh, I forgot to jump on the comments. But speaking of those Washington Commanders,